Hello, this is Jim Feist in Las Vegas, and I'm joined again by my cohort in Florida, sunny South Florida, Hank Goldberg, who is absolutely killing it this year in the NFL. Hank, good morning.
Yeah, I made a good decision on Monday night. I had a sense that New England was going to get caught looking ahead. But I'm going to tell you something about the Patriots. This is a couple of weeks in a row now where Brady has not been sharp. And they're not doing a great job of protecting him. And now people are starting to question whether Brady is himself. He's getting beat up pretty good. The Dolphins' defense, young cornerback, really took away his receivers, and he didn't have open guys. And I know Gronk wasn't involved, and he really missed Gronk. But previously his record without Gronk is 25-5 or 20-5, so it wasn't that big of an issue. But New England really played. Although they came back somewhat in the game, they only lost by 7 points. They were an 11-point favorite in that game, and they never were in control of the game. The Dolphins, who had been miserable in the first half of games all year, ran effectively against them. And Cutler. Now, I'm going to tell you something interesting about Cutler. I talked to Mark Trestman, who coached him in Chicago, and Mark pointed out to me that in primetime games, Cutler was 7-1 when he coached him. Cutler has an amazing record in prime time. And when the Dolphins played in prime time against previously this year, they didn't have Cutler for the game against Baltimore. Remember, Moore played quarterback. Cutler was out injured. So Cutler, for some reason, always plays his best in prime time. He has, if you look it up, he's beaten top quarterbacks in games on national television. And then the next week, you'll think. Remember that when they go up to Buffalo this week and play in a blizzard, by the way.
Will it be another blizzard up there?
Yeah.
Wow. Cutler seems to play. He likes getting his face on TV, and he was a great talent in college. I remember at Vanderbilt. He did some great things in the pros too, but he was very inconsistent. Not motivational leader at all. But he looked good the other night, and that's what the Miami bettors were happy about that for sure.
I'll tell you who else is happy about that, his agent, because he wants to play another year, and he put on a good show for a lot of teams that are looking for quarterbacks. He's put himself on the market for next year by that performance.
Well, he has the ability, and there's no question about that. But, does Miami have any interest in him next year, or are they going to go in a different direction?
I don't know what Miami's going to do. They get Tannehill's going to be back next year, and they might go into the draft and look for somebody else. So that's a good question. He's getting $10 million this year. He's going to probably want $12 million next year. And he'll probably get it from some stupid team, who's looking for a quarterback.
Right.
And there are plenty of stupid teams that are looking for quarterbacks right now.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's a drought out there for, we got a lot of hurt, injured quarterbacks too, but, some of these backups have developed pretty well. But there are definitely some holes to fill. Anyway, we got some big games this weekend. Philadelphia with a backup quarterback is going to go up to the Giants. Foles is very capable of playing well. He played well in Philadelphia in his previous life there. That 1 year he was 27-2 touchdowns to interceptions. And the Giants, of course, don't have anybody. They're a mess. We do have a Thursday night game, Denver at Indianapolis, which is absolutely meaningless to the standings, but individual players and coaches will try to do their best there. Chicago's at Detroit. Detroit's still in the mix. And the big game Saturday is Chargers at Kansas City. which the winner is probably going to win that division, and that is an interesting, very interesting game because I mean the Chargers have won. They started the season out 0-4, and Kansas City was 5-0, and now they're tied. So it shows you the trend that's really happened. The Chargers have been red hot.
Well, let's start with Philadelphia. I think one of the great overreactions is the injury to Wentz, because Foles can play. And not only that, but they're getting Ertz back this week, their tight end. A big difference maker, I think, for them. Because that'll raise the comfort level of their offense significantly. And for them to be, 7 or 8 point favorite over the Giants are terrible. And the Philadelphia defense will have their way against the Giants. And, for Philadelphia to suddenly jump up to 12-1 in the postseason, with Foles as the quarterback, I think is a total overreaction because Philadelphia is probably still as good as almost any team right now in the conference. Minnesota finally gets a chance to go home after playing 5 of the last 6 games on the road, something like that, ridiculous schedule. And they should. We'll see what happens with their quarterback situation, but they're going to stick with their guy another week. But I hope they do because I don't trust going back to a guy who hasn't played in 2 years at this stage of the season. And there's a question about whether Rodgers is going to have some rust on him going in to play against a very good defense in Carolina. So there's some real question marks out there. And I'll give you a big question too. Look up the record that the Chargers have against Kansas City. I think Kansas City's beaten them 7 straight times.
Yeah, well, Kansas City's been the better team for a number of years, so I'm not surprised that they have a pretty good record. And we all know Kansas City's a tough place to play. The marketplace has made the Chargers 1 point favorite, 1.5 point favorite there now. Based on the current trend of the way Rivers has been playing and the way San Diego's been playing and their defense has been so strong, I understand what the marketplace is saying. I can see that point, but that's a tough place to go in and be favored. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that game.
Well, you got a team in Kansas City that's lost like 7 or 8 of 8 or 8 or whatever, and failed to cover 6 of their last 8 games. But the Chargers have had teams equal to Kansas City before and gone in there and laid a giant egg. The place it's one of those mental things that they just never play well there. And Rivers never plays well there. And remember, early in the year, the Chargers had a big lead against Kansas City and blew the game. Remember?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. This is very interesting because the Chargers are coming in with the ultimate of momentum and confidence. That's not always been the case. That may be a difference. I like to look back at history, but not that much. I mean, it can work for you, but can also work against you. I got to play the teams that are on the field this year. I think it's going to be a war. I don't think anybody's going to run away with this thing. I think it's going to come down to the end and who makes the kick. And that's what I believe is going to happen. Now, who has the better kicking game right now? That's going to be the issue.
Well, I think Phillip Rivers has, as great as he is, sometimes he comes up empty in bad situations, in tough situations. Now, the thing with Kansas City is their defense right now. Last week, they played well against a very bad Raider team, and yet they let the Raiders back into the game in the second half. They had a 26-0 lead. Kansas City got into the red zone on every possession and had to set up a field goal 4 times. So, they weren't producing touchdowns. They were just settling for field goals in that game. So right now, the Chargers last week played against a decimated Washington team and by the way, their tight end is out for the season now. Reed has been declared on injured reserve. So Washington's in trouble. And then, they've got all those, offensive linemen out. The defense is really given up. So the Chargers really basically had a week off last week. So, they may not have an easy time there. It's a game that I'd be very careful of.
Well, it's definitely not going to be an easy game. No way, either side. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to come down to the end. Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers is back, and Carolina can dominate a game on the ground. We all know Cam Newton is an amazing athlete. He's not the passer that Aaron Rodgers is, but again, like what you said, Hank, Aaron Rodgers hasn't played in a long time. He could definitely be rusty.
Well, Green Bay's defense isn't very good right now. That's something to consider. They almost lost last week to Cleveland. And Cleveland had the good running game against them, and the quarterback didn't do that bad against them. And, Cam is definitely capable of hurting a team at any time. The surprise to me was that the running back had a huge game against Green Bay's, last week, Carolina last night against Minnesota's defense, ran the ball for a lot of yards. And they haven't been that good running the ball with their running backs all year. So Green Bay's defense could be in for a long afternoon against a suddenly confident Carolina offense. It'll be a very interesting game. And I'll tell you, Rodgers is going to have to be at his best. Now, how strong is he going to be? Can he take a hit? Is he going to have confidence in rolling out as he would when he's at his best and causing problems for defenses? He could have some rust on him, although they say he's looked very good in practice. It'll be a great curiosity, that game.
It really comes down to what happens after he takes his first hit. That's going to be the issue. He had 13 screws in his collarbone to fix it, and that's an amazing comeback for him. But they are still in it, and this is going to be another war. You mentioned Minnesota, and I don't know, what's the question about who's going to start at quarterback? Nobody can possibly think that the right move would be to go to Bridgewater after 2 years out, in Case Keenum winning 8 straight games, playing his 5th road game in 6 weeks, and losing down at Carolina. How can anybody even consider replacing him if he's healthy?
I don't know. I mean, Keenum, finally, despite the fact that he turned the ball over 3 times last week, he still almost brought his team back to win that game. They weren't out of it in the 4th quarter. So he doesn't quit, and he's not playing like a third stringer anymore. To call him a third stringer now is ridiculous. He's been a starter, and he's led him to, a great position right now. And I still like Minnesota to have a home field throughout when they get into the postseason.
I'll tell you, if they don't want Case Keenum in Minnesota next year, there's going to be a lot of people willing to pay him a lot of money. So, now Houston goes down to Jacksonville, who looked really tough against Seattle. But Jacksonville, can you feel confident laying 11, 12 points with Jacksonville against anybody? I can't remember them ever being a favorite that big.
Well, I guess Houston has to change quarterbacks this week, but going against that Jacksonville defense is going to be a tall order for Houston. So I'm not laying double digits, but Jacksonville should annihilate Houston.
Based on paper, yes. You get a 39 line on the total when you're talking about lane 11 to 12, that's a enormous percentage of the overall projected total. That's not generally a good idea unless you think the other team isn't going to score at all. And if T.J. Yates starts for
that's a good possibility.
Well, if T.J. Yates starts for Houston over Savage, Yates is a better quarterback in my opinion anyway. But that's just me. You got any other games you see that you want to key on, Hank?
Well, I already told you to be careful of the Dolphins next week going into the blizzard. Buffalo, but we don't know who Buffalo's going to be playing at quarterback yet.
Right.
But if their regular guy's back, the Dolphins could be in for a long afternoon up there. And I was telling Bob Greasy a story yesterday about how one of my more memorable trips to Buffalo was when we were up there and there was a blizzard. And I walked in a blizzard 3 blocks to a OTB because I liked the card at Aqueduct that day. And I hit a big, I hit a pick 6 at Aqueduct, and they didn't have the money to pay me at the at the OTB. And I couldn't get a taxi because the roads were closed. I was having dinner with a Buffalo columnist, and before we went to dinner, he found an OTB that was open. We drove all over town so I could get paid. And the next day when I saw Shule after the game, he said, "Did you get your money?" He knew everything that was going on, just not with every player, but with every reporter. Somebody had told him that I had made a score at the OTB braving a blizzard. Told me I was nuts.
That's a great story. I love it. That's a great story. Oh,
but
man.
Atlanta, Tampa Bay on Monday night. It's a fairly sizable number. Atlanta hasn't always had great success the last 4 times they played at Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay is playing as badly right now as any team in the league. They've got more injuries right now. I think their best defensive lineman got hurt last week. And Atlanta, their last 3 of their last 4 games they played decently, and they've got a lot on the line. So I would think that Tampa Bay right now, their quarterback is playing terrible right now. The coach is on the way out, and that team may have this might be a suitcase game for them. I think they pretty well chucked it in.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Tampa Bay looks absolutely awful. Atlanta has the weapons.
Now, one other thing, and that is Tennessee and San Francisco. All of a sudden now, San Francisco has become a very popular game with the players. I'm talking about the Vegas players, because of Garoppolo, who played very well, giving them life. The defense is playing better. The whole team is playing better. And then coming up against the Tennessee team whose quarterback is nicked up, but he says he's going to play. But Tennessee is playing very poorly on the road. We went against them last week when they played at Arizona. That's the 2nd straight game on the road. And they're going into a San Francisco team that's playing with confidence now.
Yeah, San Francisco's offensive, defenses, coaches, everybody are very upbeat. They want to finish the season off with a winning streak, and they have a chance to win their last 3 games. They feel that way. When your confidence is that high, anything is possible. Garoppolo has looked really good. Mariota has looked absolutely awful. I think he's destined to be a backup quarterback somewhere. I don't think he's shown anyone that he should be a starter at this point in his career.
I don't know. I'm willing to give him another year. I don't know what's wrong with him right now, but it may be coaching. I think a better coach might do a better job with him. I think it's a little early to give up on him, but he's got ability and he's mobile, and he's got some positive points. He's just in the slump right now, and he plays better at home. But I'll tell you this about Garoppolo. In New England right now, after the Monday night performance by Brady, the talk shows are starting to say that they gave up on their future. It's amazing.
Well, there will be a day that Brady's going to have to step down. We don't know when that'll be. He's had a great year. I mean, last week did not look good, but overall he's had a damn good year. Can he still play at 41 and 42, and does he want to? I guess he does. He said he does. But at some point in time, they're going to have to change quarterbacks. And Garoppolo is... but how long did he want to hang around and spend his youthful years sitting on the bench behind Tom Brady? So they might not have had any choice but to get rid of him because, you know, if Brady wants to play another 2-3 years, I don't think Garoppolo would have been very happy sitting there.
I'll tell you where they made a mistake, a real mistake. They got nothing for him. And they could have gotten a lot more.
No, that's probably true. Yeah, that's probably very true.
But I'll tell you what's going to be interesting to me, of course. The most interesting game is going to be New England at Pittsburgh. Now, if you watch the Pittsburgh game against Baltimore, defensively made a colossal mistake in trying to single cover the number 84. I mean, that was ridiculous. You can bet that Belichick will not do that. They'll try everything they can do defensively to take him out of the offense. Well, so the new fantasy players out there can look for the running back to have a big game among the B-boys. I think Bell's going to have a huge night against the New England defense, which could not defend the run against the Dolphins. That raises a big point for me for Pittsburgh. The other thing is, who's the better quarterback right now? Roethlisberger's he's on a great run, playing terrific ball right now. And they're playing smart football. They're using the tight end in some key third down situations to maintain possession before they go for the big plays. And New England doesn't have great defense against the tight ends right now. So that's going to be a key point in that game. I think Pittsburgh is a great play.
I'll tell you what, you're getting a lot of value here with them. I mean, New England opened a 1-point favorite, and even off of their bad effort in Miami, now they're up to a 3-point favorite. And granted, Pittsburgh has some serious defensive injuries, and that, I mean, they allowed 38 points to the Ravens, and that's, you know, I mean, we never think of the Ravens being able to do that to anybody, but they did it to Pittsburgh, and you know, you got to figure New England's going to come in with a big effort off of that loss.
That was the Ravens before they got the running back, and before Wallace became a big factor. You know, and now that the Ravens have a running back who can give you 140 yards a game, and they have that good offensive line playing for them right now, they're a different team offensively, and they've restored the confidence in Flacco.
Well, that's true, and he has a big arm. There's no question. Speaking of Flacco, I mean, are the Browns going to go the whole season and not have a victory? I mean, I know they play three. Sometimes they play 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters. They play well. They got the lead going late, and they give it up. They give it up in overtime, and Baltimore is in there as a 7 or 7.5 point favorite. And boy, I tell you, Baltimore needs to keep winning.
Well, they will. They're playing great ball right now offensively, and Cleveland may have just, after the way they lost the game last week, they may just nail it in this week. Although they've been playing hard every week for this coach. By the way, Pittsburgh, one other plus for them is they're getting Hayden back, which will help their defense significantly.
That is a big plus. Hank, we're running pretty long here with this. Your plays are up at jimfeist.com. I want to mention to everybody that you're doing really, really well in the contests out here. I think your record is 45-21, which is damn near 70%. And that's in the NFL, folks. He's also been winning in college hoops. And we got the bowl games coming up, and Hank has some strong opinions on those as well. go to JimFeist.com and get his picks. Buy his picks. You're going to be sorry if you don't.
Hey, Jim, I've got some early bowl games. Watch out for these South Florida teams. Butch Davis is coaching FIU, doing a heck of a job, and he's a strong dog playing in the ball game over in St. Pete. And then, of course, you got the FAU guy, the wild man coaching over there, and they're just running up on everybody.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, your South Florida teams have done fairly well. There's no question. And you never know about Lane Kiffin. He just likes to pour it on. Hank,
Yep.
Hank, we'll talk again in a couple days, and good luck to you, and thank you very much.
Okay, Jim.